What would you do if your life as you knew it was over? Tuesday on Fox 31, the 10 o'clock news. Brian Perkins will bring you an interview with a man whose life abruptly changed and who then decided to change the world. Camilla native Scott Rigsby was in a car crash that left him a double amputee. Life over? Not for Scott. He took his circumstances and ran, literally, competing in triathlons and setting world records. This is one man's story you don't want to miss. Tuesday on Fox 31, the 10 o'clock news.
If they were to slice my head open as a kid, then all kinds of these balls would fall out. A basketball would fall out, a baseball would fall out, and a football would fall out.
Scott Rigsby spent his high school years like so many teenagers in southwest Georgia, playing sports. The Camilla native played football for Westwood Academy, and from the start, he didn't know the meaning of the word limit.
I would have loved to have played college football, but I was a little short on the athletic ability, big on the heart.
Legendary head coach Graham Lowe took a chance on an undersized but determined Rigsby and turned him into a nose guard, something that still resonates with Scott today.
He took a chance that I could handle going up against a guy every play that was at least 100 pounds heavier than I was. And faith like that from people that you really admire and you respect, that just gives you the confidence to kind of overcome anything that comes your way.
But Scott Rigsby had no idea what was coming his way 20 years ago when on this stretch of highway, a truck accident left him a double amputee.
I pretty much went through all the normal stages of grieving. I mean, I would say I like to say that it's the starfish mentality. You think your legs are going to grow back, and obviously the reality kind of sets in. I was sad. I was depressed. I mean, I went through, I had a pity party and I invited people, but nobody showed up.
But before long, Scott stopped seeing the accident as the end of his life. Instead, he saw it as a chance for a new beginning.
It didn't take very long for you to kind of get over yourself and realize that other people are going through tough times and challenges, and you can continue to sit on the sidelines of life, or you can get back in the game. And I just chose to be able to get back in the game and try to make something of it.
Around this time last year, Scott decided to try competing in a triathlon, and right away, he was hooked.
I got on the bike, rode the bike, ran, and I finished it. And then I just kind of got addicted. I ran 6 triathlons in 7 weeks.
Now Scott is a world record holder, and he says the sky is the limit from here.
Kind of reflecting over this past year. I mean, this past year I've done, since April, I did 13 triathlons. I did 5 road races and 1 duathlon. I set 2 world triathlon records, and hopefully I'll set another world record next year.
Scott's competitions have taken him all over the world, but he says it's his home right here in southwest Georgia that has made this all possible.
My roots. I just haven't forgotten my roots, and like I said, I thought about just the playing right in the middle of the defense, at a disadvantage, a weight disadvantage, height disadvantage, and all these other challenges that I had, and you just learn to gut it out and push through it and just make something happen. Stay in there long enough to make something happen. There was a writer that said that most men lead a life of quiet desperation, and I just felt like I was dying inside.
About this time 1 year ago, Scott Rigsby decided it was time for a change. With the emotional and physical scars from his accident still apparent, Scott decided he would take his life in a new direction.
And I just wanted to make a difference. I wanted my life to count for something. And so I realized that no double amputee up until this past year had ever done an Olympic distance triathlon. And I was like, well, I can surely do that. And then there's a half Ironman. Nobody had ever done that. And then there's the Ironman.
One event after another, Scott not only reached personal goals, he began changing the way the sports world viewed amputees.
Not only did I set a world triathlon record, but I was able to open up a door for other double amputee triathletes, because this year, if I don't run the New York City Triathlon and a double amputee wants to run it on prosthetics, then he can they have an award, whereas this past year they didn't.
Now Rigsby, a native of Southwest Georgia who began his quest to bring fulfillment to his own life, is running for so much more.
It's really about the greater good and creating an opportunity for people who have faced a double limb loss and be able to show them what can happen.
Scott says he hopes to show others who are using prosthetics that their normal lives can still go on. He has created the Scott Rigsby Foundation to help teach people about their options.
One is a personal goal of really educating the public on prosthetics, and God forbid if something like that happened to you, it's not the end of the world, and if you're an athlete, it's certainly not the end of the world. And then the second thing is about the greater goal of impacting the lives of people.
And the most rewarding part of this effort is reaching out in person to those who have been hurt and reassuring them that everything will be okay.
Well, one of the double amputees, he was actually 25 days from getting out of the service, and then he lost both limbs. He became a bilateral amputee. Well, his wife had tears when she saw me, and we were sitting there eating lunch, and she just asked me, "Is it gonna be okay?" And there wasn't anybody in the world that could look at her and say what I said. And I said, "Are you kidding me? Look at me. Am I okay?" Hey, listen. He has so much to look forward to. His life's not over. My pain can be his gain, because I've already figured out what works and doesn't work. I've been doing this for 20 years. So just to be able to make a difference in people's lives like that is what I feel like I'm called to do.
And Scott is answering that call. One small man from rural Georgia, changing the world one race and one person at a time.
I've impacted the world of triathlon, and it's not often that you get a chance where you can look at the end of your life and say, I made a difference in the world. And that's really what I'm about, is taking my little small life, my little ordinary life, and doing something really extraordinary with it.